Good afternoon, everyone.
After.
Good
Bright
night.
and early. How is everyone?
Good. Alive.
Say what?
Alive.
Well, that's wonderful.
But yeah, I get.
Okay, let's wait a few more minutes. It's 6:05. See who else coming on. Then we'll start liquidation and then we will go over what's on the final exam. Sounds exciting, eh? What I am, I keep them out.
Good afternoon.
Good
I-
afternoon.
I agree with Christina. I alive.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. What you mean you alive? You're
Thank
doing well,
God.
you're breathing, you're talking.
Yeah. Thank God I breathing.
That's wonderful. You in good shape.
Mm. Look at that.
Wonderful shape. I made this exam so easy. I think y'all could do this without studying.
Never.
I'm telling you, it's not that hard. Why you laughing?
I like that one.
But why you thinking otherwise?
Because of the questions you was asking. Well,
What
homework.
you mean?
Easy.
This is so easy.
So you didn't finish yet?
Finish what?
The exam.
I think so. I couldn't make it no much easier even if I had tried.
Yeah, I'm getting prickly that now.
What that's supposed to mean? Come on now. We ain't that bad. Come on.
Mm-mm.
You could do this with your eyes closed.
How?
Trust me. When you get this exam, you can say, oh my God, why did I bother to study?
Talk like that. Don't talk like that, man.
Nah, no true.
Why you think that?
It's a setup.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know true. I'll never set you up. I always lead students in the right direction. Never do that. Never, ever, ever. I would never do that. Set you up. Nah.
But how many questions?
What you mean?
Like 10 questions. 6
Why
questions.
you jumping the gun? Why you like to jump the gun?
I don't know.
You know, let's do liquidation first. Then I will tell you what's coming on the exam. And then you could figure out from there how easy it really is.
Boy, my heart won't believe you.
I don't know what your problem is. I really don't know.
But my mind telling me.
That's a song.
It's
That is
telling
a
me something
song.
else.
Okay, so let's talk about company liquidation. And this topic is not complex. I've made it very simple because I figured that you wouldn't want to go too deep into this because you're not accountants. So what you really just need to know is the process and the different types of liquidation. So you would have downloaded or you have in front of you the Companies Act, and you know that we amended the Companies Act with a whole new section on winding up of a company. So when we speak about liquidation, what does that mean in essence?
Getting rid of
Like the company?
the assets, closing it down.
Mm-hmm. So getting rid of the assets, paying off your creditors, and if
Mhm,
anything left, paying off the shareholders. Agreed?
mhm.
Yes.
So once that is done, then the company will no longer exist. So there are two types of liquidation. What are those two types?
Voluntary and involuntary.
Okay. And what's the difference between the two?
Voluntary is when they do like a resolution
Mm-hmm.
to
When the members
To
agree
close
have
the
a
company.
custody event.
Right. The members agree, yes, to close the company.
Mhm.
And what's the other one?
And
The next one
Then
is when
it's
the court forces you.
Okay. So if I were to ask you for a short answer question, what are the kinds of liquidation and what distinguishes one from the next one? What would your answer be?
So
You
the
mean
kinds
like
would be the
member
voluntary.
Voluntary and involuntary
Mm-hmm.
types. And one is where the members would come to an agreement to close the company, to liquidate the company, and the others when the court would.
Mm-hmm. And what
you know,
else? Any other distinguishing factor?
One is where the voluntary one is where, as you just said, they liquidate, pay off the shareholders and pay the creditors.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is where the creditors looking for their money and they could go to the court.
But
and
what
then
go
and then
ahead.
there are two types of voluntary liquidations as well, right? One by the members,
Yes.
and I think the others by the directors or something like that. Or the
Mhm.
no, the creditors, one by the members and one by the creditors.
Yes.
And so,
So
a
you're trying now, hold on now. You're trying to get 5 points. So you need to be succinct.
so I don't need to go into detail to that point then.
No, you don't have to go in detail, but you know that there are for voluntary, there's more than one way.
Okay, so voluntary, there's two types of voluntary liquidations.
Right. So say the voluntary now in one sentence, more or less.
So the voluntary can be done through the process of a resolution by the directors and the members
Mm-hmm.
to wind up the company and all of its affairs, to distribute, to liquidate their assets, and to distribute to the shareholders and the creditors, or what is owed, paid out what is owed to the shareholders and the creditors.
Uh-huh.
And also they could deem it to be insolvent where they can't pay out their debts or their assets. They ain't have enough to pay out the money to the shareholders or the creditors.
Okay, so go to the next page. The next page gives you, if the company is to be wound up voluntarily, it either do so because it's a fixed rate, I made a fixed date for the duration
What
of the
page?
company,
What page we on?
the second page, or it could be written whereby the articles and memorandum state that there is an event that's going to occur, or like you said, a resolution.
We in the
And then,
acting.
yes, and then fourth,
Oh,
they could pass a resolution that is wound up voluntarily because it is insolvent. So voluntarily is under 4 different ways.
and the 4 points you said was the resolution.
The resolution. Next one, the resolution that you're voluntarily winding up because you're insolvent. Third, the memorandum and articles spoke to an event that would trigger the winding of the company. And fourth, the articles itself state the duration of the company. Let's say they said the company is only for 3 years, goes in for 5 years. Those are the 4 ways in which you wind up voluntarily.
Okay.
Now, involuntarily,
I'm trying to find that place in the
Involve with
Oh, yeah. This is an exam
think-
question.
Pardon me?
This is an exam question.
Oh, let me write this first before I start talking.
You're not listening carefully.
So
you know you gotta repeat the
involuntary
question
is
again.
is when the decision has been made by a court, by a
Mhm.
judge. It can also be done if a company has not been established or opened a year after incorporation.
Uh-huh.
I really don't know where y'all is in this.
On page 5.
Where y'all, what page? Page 5.
Section 10, unit 10. They have under involuntary liquidation, A to F.
A to F.
The company has passed a resolution requiring the company to be wound up by the court. The company does not. You see that?
No, I'm lost.
Company is
Why you don't
insolvent.
see that?
I don't know what page 5 y'all on. I end up,
Chapter
I am
10,
unit-
unit 10.
yeah, I'm unit 10. But that's page 169 for me.
I don't have a page number,
I don't have a page number.
but if you start from unit 10 from page 1, it'll be 1, 2, like she say 5. The fifth page into unit 10.
Striking
one.
off IBC Act 2000.
Yeah, go down under, and you'll see under section 169, you'll see involuntary liquidation on page 173.
Oh, okay. I was not there. Okay.
I mean, you didn't read this before you came to class.
No, it ain't that, because I was on par with the first set, and then I just didn't know how we all, I don't know, y'all act like Flash Gordon and gone somewhere else. Like,
So Cameron raised a question. Someone answer. Cameron, state your question again. Let someone answer for you. Cameron, you remember your question?
No, ma'am.
Your question was, what is the question?
Yeah, that was my question.
what?
You got the question?
Yeah, I realized we was on the liquidation chapter. I had to come late, so I was trying to catch up.
Okay, okay.
Voluntary
okay.
and involuntary winding up, Cameron. This is an exam question.
Yes. And that is a part of a question. So do not think for 1 minute that you're going to go and write a whole Bible. Don't waste your time.
I gotta change my strategy then.
I've already directed you for what I'm looking for. Okay, so let's finish the chapter and then we will move on. So you know that there are, for both liquidation, voluntary and involuntary, there are distinguishing ways in which you categorize either one. And each one has a process to go through. So the process for voluntary liquidation for an IBC is very simple. Who can give it to me? This is not examinable.
Okay, so you can, once you get your resolution from the directors or the members, you would have your articles of for the dissolution, and you would have your plan.
Mm-hmm.
Those three can be filed at the registry. After they're filed, you should publish your commencement notice
Uh-huh.
with the date, not the date that is on the resolution, but the date that it was filed with the registry. And according to the articles of the dissolution, it will tell you, or the plan, how many days you would have for someone to come and make a claim before the liquidator statement is filed. So most commonly, sometimes it'd be like 30 days. After those 30 days, no, after you publish the commencement notice, you would clip it out, the article out of the paper. After 30 days, you'll file it together with the liquidator statement, which means that you've published that whoever has however much days to come and make a claim. Once that liquidator statement is filed, the company is then said to be liquidated from that stamp date on the liquidator statement.
Okay, so I have an ad in front of me. I cut out of the paper, and they gave any creditors. Let me see. They said that the dissolution commenced on the 4th day of March.
Mhm.
Articles of dissolution have been duly registered by the registrar. They gave the name of the liquidator. And then they said anybody having any claim against the company must do so before the 25th of March. And the date of this notice is the 8th of March. So really that was 10, 11, 14, like 14, 15 days.
What do you mean the date of the notice?
It said dated this 8th day of March, 2021. And anyone having a claim have to do so before the 25th day of March.
But I thought they said that even after the company is wound up, you could go after the correct company 1 year and then some.
Yeah, but according to this notice, it gave these people, what, 14 days.
I mean, I guess that could be in accordance to what inside the articles of that plan.
Probably in the articles, because normally it's what, 30 days.
30 days. But once that liquidator statement filed, that's deal, yeah.
Because after that, it's supposed to be struck off.
Yeah, from that same date that it's filed. So even if you wait more than 30 days and you file it, whatever filed date is, the file date is, that's the date it's deemed to be discontinued unless the company wasn't in good standing. So like, let's just say you filed in 2020, but you don't file your liquidator statement till 2021. If you don't pay the AGF for 2021, you wouldn't get the certificate of dissolution.
But look at both. Okay, so let's just say you publish it,
Mhm.
right, in the papers, but you don't file your last report. It says that the company, a creditor, a member, or liquidator may within 5 years following the date of the striking off the company apply for the company to be restored.
By the court.
Mhm. As long as you make the requisite payment of the fees.
Yeah, you have to be in good standing. And if you're not, if you don't have all your stuff filed and everything, they'll require all of that before they issue that certificate.
Right. Now let me ask Christina, are there still quite a bit of IBCs to be struck off, or you all have finished that project now? I know Christina is on. Christina. Is she listening?
I know. But you mean, they have a lot of stuff to get struck off.
The last time when I did this, a lot of students were complaining that they said that they had a lot of companies, IBCs, that had to be struck off and they had to do some tidying up and cleaning up.
They get, if they don't pay their fees for a year. So let's just say they paid their fees for 2020, but they have yet to pay it now. They will have this entire year to pay. If they don't pay by December 31st, come January 1st, that's a strike off.
Yeah, but look at section 169. So if a company struck off under section 165, that means they no longer reach certain requirements in the act and they remain struck off for a period of 5 years. The company then shall be deemed dissolved. But the registrar may, if in the best interest of the crown, apply to the court and have the company liquidated and appoint an official liquidator.
Or you mean those that was struck off in 1 to 5 years?
Yes,
Huh?
those ones.
If we doing that, Roger, that would be an ongoing thing. Because you see now, they Securities Commission about where all IBCs have to pay an annual fee of $50 commencing this year. And they relying on the registry to give them a list of companies that belong to certain agents, and their list, that ain't gonna be right.
That's what I'm talking about now.
Because when you change agents and stuff, sometimes you change agents and a year, 2 years later, it's still in switch over in their system. They still have it under somebody else.
But that should be automatic transfer.
That list can be jacked right off. Well, that's a project for them, I guess.
It is a project. So you know that under the Companies Winding Up Act, when a company is compulsory wound up by the court, what's that process?
You mean doing this page here with the act for 2011?
Yes. So under the Companies Winding Up, they have, one is under compulsory by order of the court, voluntarily. One is under the supervision of the court.
But this one under supervision of the court, I don't even think, I think that this is just a law in place, but it's not really actioned.
What you mean? To be wound up by the court?
Because some, like, we've come across a lot of companies that have been struck off for more than 5 years, let's just say sometimes even 10, and they still under the registry, they didn't get taken to court to say, well, be liquidated or nothing like that.
Now, don't forget, now this one here, these compulsory winding up, this is under the Companies Act. These amendments were done after they had banks that need to be wound up and other large companies. And they tried to bring the Companies Act up to date with other jurisdiction in terms of winding up. So this also affected the Bahamas situation. So they had to put these provisions within the Companies Act in order for the court to take control of certain entities. So a company can say that they want to be wound up by the court, which is different from a compulsory order of the court. And
Oh, I
normally
see what you're saying the under
right.
supervision of the court
Yes.
would be voluntary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And like I say, you would see this in either a banking situation, securities, insurance, or a large conglomerate like how Bahama was.
So these, where you have compulsory by court order, so that's 3 different types then. The compulsory by court order, voluntary or under supervision of the court is 3 points.
Yes, 3,
Okay.
yes. And then under the Companies Act, if you want to be voluntarily wound up, it is similar to an IBC. Either the company was for a fixed period, an event occurred that was mentioned in the memo and arts that would trigger the winding up, or the members all decide that they want to wind up the company voluntarily, or they decide that they'll wind it up because it is insolvent. So it's the same whether it's a Companies Act company or an IBC company. The rationale for winding up is the same when it's done voluntarily.
That's a short chapter.
But under the Companies Act, it is a little bit more complex. When it comes to winding up, by compulsory, by the court itself, where the court says that you have to do it voluntarily, and then under the supervision. And then I listed here the process, which is very long.
Mhm.
So you could read that. That's a complex process. So everybody is quiet, so they're eagerly reading, and I don't want no one to ask me no question twice. How does that sound?
That don't sound right.
No, that
Doesn't
sounds
sound
right.
like it.
That
A
sounds
bit
like you
wrong.
should pay attention. Correct?
That doesn't sound like the Masacha I know.
Yeah, that sounds like the one I know. Why it don't sound like the one you know? Okay. This is the first time I ever see Cameron name all the way to the top of the class.
Say it again.
This is the first time I see your name all the way to the top of the class.
I should tell you, are you ready to pay attention and focus on what's coming on 6 up?
I see that. That's what I say. I never noticed your name on the top yet. Okay, so let me start. Hold on, I just writing something down. This exam has 3 parts. Part A, 2 mandatory questions. Part B, 9 questions, choose 6. And part C, 10 multiple choice questions, which you can decide to do part C in place of 1 question from part B.
Can you repeat that one more time? You were kind of quick for me.
Makita,
Patrol.
listen, we've already agreed this. What did we agree last week?
I can repeat it for
Okay, go ahead.
Part A, 2 mandatory questions. Part B, 9 questions, choose 6. Part C is 10 multiple choice. If you decide to do the 10 multiple choice, then part B, you only have to answer 5 questions as opposed to 6.
Thank you very much.
What the hell? You record that in?
That's what I
I-
said. We
I
agreed that from
remember
last
it's
week.
important.
Part C is 10 multiple questions, 10 multiple choice. If you decide to do the multiple choice, you need to do 5 questions on part B.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so the mandatory questions, which are 2. One of them is a full question and the other one is a part question. We've already done one of the part. So the next thing you have to know is we did in detail and everybody grasped the concept of promoters. And we also discussed the section of the act that spoke about the liability of promoters.
She said one full question, one part question.
Mm-hmm.
When you say part question, you mean like part A and part B?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great.
When we did the chapter on risk, when you all were so excited, we focused on the risk process, but speak to what? What's the risk process?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's the risk process?
And like where it start from management and then, or it start from
No,
like the line
That,
start
no,
from
that's
goes
not,
up?
no, that's not a process. No.
Oh, okay.
You mean
What's the-
that's the one with the, where we had the pyramids and stuff?
Mhm, which pyramid?
The governance aid.
Identification. You mean in? Oh, even in. I should. Risk.
Identification, evaluation,
Identification.
and then the acceptance and monitoring, and then the reporting.
Say it again. I didn't hear you.
Oh, risk identification, then acceptance and
Yes,
monitoring. and
yes.
reporting.
What did you ask? What is the process? Risk process?
Yes.
Okay.
And of course, another area which you all did very well, I mean, in terms of understanding and gathering the concepts, is when will the court pierce the corporate veil? Okay, so the next mandatory question is on company and its contractors.
You know, you can have the staff from the beginning first, like people, right? Please.
Oh, you're not
We're
that
pretty
late.
please.
I want hear you tell her what you good and say.
Yeah, you could tell her. You have to bring her up to speed.
Oh, Ms. Archer, you really, I know what to say.
What?
Exactly,
Okay.
say keep up. That's all she said was keep up. the
Company
shoe.
and its contractors. So you know, when you have a company, there are certain people that are authorized to do certain things. And you know, the authority comes from a certain document or documents. So you're gonna have a scenario where someone in the company has contracted and you have to speak to whether or not that person has that authority to do so.
So we're talking about agency.
Not necessarily, no.
We're talking about pre-incorporation and all of that other.
No. Mm-mm. A
Okay, so
company and its contracts.
a company and
If
its
someone in the
contract.
company has entered into a contract, and you have to figure out whether or not it's valid.
Oh, you mean in? I think I that's. I
If
only
they-
know.
if
Oh,
they-
okay.
If there's the capacity to do it.
Yes.
Okay.
I still don't understand what you mean. Mrs.
I
Gardner.
think that do with whether they are de jure, de facto, or shadow director.
No. Mm-mm.
You weren't talking about the promoter or nothing like that. You just talking
No,
about
no,
if
it's
they
just
are
what Makita said.
bound.
Say it again, Makita.
If you are in the capacity
Mhm.
to do something for the company, so let's just say, for example, like where you work, are you in the capacity to certify a certificate of incorporation? If you did sign that, would that be valid?
No.
No.
Yeah, like that.
Okay,
That's what
so
I
this
meant.
is someone who did something and you need to say whether or not it's valid or not, taking into consideration all the different documents that you refer to for authorization in a company. Okay, so start over, let Lisa take her notes.
That sounds like Shaquille.
You waiting on me, eh?
Yes, you have to give Lisa her notes since she came in late.
Nah, I write shorthand. I only write what I need to study. So part A is
Makita will help you.
Part A. You ready?
I'm waiting on you too.
Part A is 2 mandatory questions. Part B is 9 questions, 6 choose 6. Part C is 10 multiple choice. If you decide not
Gone
to
too
do
far.
this,
I still at part B. I
okay,
still at part B.
okay. Part B is 9 questions, choose 6.
Okay.
Part C is 10 multiple choice. If you choose to do the multiple choice, then you only have to do 5 questions from part B and not 6.
I have a question on that, Ms. Acho.
Mm-hmm.
If we do the 6 questions instead of the 10 multiple choice, could that be like extra if
bonus.
you need extra?
Like a
No,
bonus.
no.
Okay.
No extra.
Okay, what is part D?
D?
NOD.
NOD?
Okay. Just A, B, and C.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was agreed.
so we going through the questions?
Yeah,
The
for
ti-
her, yeah, because she came at the very end.
Okay,
You ready?
yes.
Okay, so part A, we're going to discuss promoter. One of the questions is going to be on promoters and the liability of promoters,
Uh-huh.
the risk process, which is identification, acceptance, and monitoring and reporting.
Okay,
Passing the corporate veil, and in instances where the court would do it.
okay,
And company and contractors, where we just stopped.
okay. I got it.
You say for the risk process was the identification, monitoring, and reporting?
Yes, that's what I wrote down.
That don't mean it right. I mean, she's getting there.
Okay.
Just read the chapter again.
Read the chapter. She started off right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean me? So what I miss? Look, I need some help.
When you go back to the chapter, you'll see some of the words you use are not right.
A risk identification, evaluation, and management, risk acceptance and monitoring, and risk reporting.
Mitigation and documentation.
What it is? What page you on?
That's a part of the process. Let me see. I don't think this page right. Try page. For me, it's like 136 and 7.
Okay, I see it with the 4 different ones. So it's four, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Thank you.
Are we ready to move on?
So all up until the company and its contractors is part A, right? From the promoters,
Yes.
the rest, the piercing company and its contractors, all of this part A.
Mm-hmm. Remember I told you there are two questions. One has parts.
Yeah.
So we good so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So now let's go to the 9 questions. Hold on 1 second. Okay. There's a general question that has parts. And it speaks to compliance. When they say compliance, what is required by law that a company should have to be in compliance with the legislation? You understand what that question means?
Like your KYCs, what should be filed and all of that,
And more.
but in that
It puts
area.
the memo on our
Yeah.
and the shareholders and all that stuff.
Yes. I told you this exam is not hard, it's very easy.
Says the person writing it.
It is. I want you to go online and look up a case that's called Shaw and Shaw's. S-H-A-W. Shaw, no, Shaw's and Sons versus Shaw.
SHAWS?
S-H-A-W and Sons, S-O-N-S versus S-H-A-W.
Just one of the 9 questions too.
Yes.
Should give us Solomon versus Solomon.
God.
You have choices, you're only on number 2. Whoever finds it first, tell me what's the principle in that case.
Oh, you want us to do it now? I got that.
Yes, you need to do it now.
Oh,
Or you don't have to do it now.
Citation? What year is it?
1935.
Sean Shaw?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like I've read this before.
Yeah, you probably did.
Just have to deal with, I guess, the company law itself of what's stated in the articles of how to run the company.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. This have to deal with corporate governance.
This has something to do with the company's articles. Right? Where the company cannot interfere with the decision of the trustee and directors unless they amend their articles, something.
Something
tried
like
to-
that, yes. Getting
It-
warm.
It cutting off the page, so I can't read it properly.
What you mean cutting it off?
Like when I open the article, I only could read half, like it's only half a page.
Oh, you gotta, yeah, try a different site.
Yeah, hold on.
George for Joe.
Oh, this stuff, this was a family company where they had some sort of disagreement over some money. And
Everything's always about money.
yeah, and independence this is the opponent to Sean since to take control of the company's affairs. The director's
Yeah, I see him. It's saying some of its powers may, according to his articles, be exercised by the directors. Certain other powers may be reserved by the may be reserved for the shareholders and general meeting. Also, this to say this between the directors and the shareholders.
Okay, so there is a quotation. There is a quotation that is taken from that decision. And you have to discuss the statement relative to the powers of shareholders. So that means you must know the difference between the powers of a directors and the power of shareholders.
So you said there's a quotation taken from the decision of
In that same case.
A company is an entity distinct alike from its shareholders, that quote?
No,
What?
you don't have to worry what the quote is. I just gave you the guiding notes to study. You have to know the difference between the powers of a director and the powers of a shareholder. I told you these are easy peasy Japanesey.
I look at all that.
What is
The way
wrong
you
with you all?
answer it.
Say what?
This can be the way you answer it.
Okay.
Okay, it talks about ordinary directors and permanent directors and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
The head note.
Yeah, like I say, you have to know the difference between the powers of a director and the powers of a shareholder. All right. You need to know how to alter.
How to what?
Alter, let me see. I think I did a typo here. Just let me double check this one. I think I did a typo. Let me see. No, I'm right. How to alter articles. And what you need to take into consideration.
Oh, no, the other articles.
Mm-hmm. And the
And what
things that you
we
take
did
into
to take into
consideration.
You really lost me there.
She didn't study.
What? How to alter articles? Articles of association?
I know what you mean, but I don't like that one.
You don't like that one either?
That one ain't nice.
These are very easy questions.
Stop.
There's the next question. You should know how to reduce the capital of a company. How do you go about doing that? Is that one okay?
Which one is, can you say it again for me, please?
Doesn't
You should
matter.
know how to reduce the
okay.
capital of a company.
Okay. I like that one.
Oh, God.
Don't worry about it. I get to choose 6 or the 9. And I
Okay.
don't even, yeah, don't worry about it. Somebody else might like this one.
Woo! You can pick your 6 and just stick with them.
I can stick with my 6. You think I fooling?
Oh.
Uh-oh, I can't.
That's a strategy.
It is?
No, don't listen to me. I just talking to myself.
I know that's strategy.
In song and song, it is. You hear that?
Okay. Already made notes on that one, right? There's a question that has 4 parts.
Huh?
A question that has 4 parts.
See this? See this?
You should know what is a promoter? How do you vary rights?
How do you?
You what?
Vary. VARY.
Oh,
Mhm.
how do you
How
very
do you
right?
transfer shares? And what are the memorandum?
What are the memorandum?
Mhm. What is it? You reading hard for?
I feel like we only had 9 chapters technically, and I didn't write, but must see from different, but 12 different chapters.
That's why she laughed, because she's saying, oh, stop touching. Just one
I
question touching all kind of
thing.
things.
12 units.
What is this? What is this I'm hearing? What is this I'm hearing? My diligent students are complaining?
No.
Never.
We just having conversation.
Okay, good. All right. So there is a question on the celebrated case, and you know it.
The celebrated case?
Yeah, what is the celebrated case?
With the wife and the husband?
Solomon and Solomon, yes. And I
Solomon
give you a
and Solomon.
quotation and I want you to comment on it.
I lost connection. You repeat the last thing you say, Bliss.
A question on
Repeat the what?
Solomon versus Solomon.
All right.
Yep. There's a quotation from that case and I want your comments.
So the quotation given and discuss the Solomon and Solomon principle?
No, it doesn't say discuss the principle. It says discuss the quotation. So you need to read the quotation first.
Oh, quotation given and discuss.
Mhm.
But this is in regards to Solomon versus Solomon.
Yes. All right. Why did I have that there? Okay, so there's a question. Remember in the very first unit, we spoke about the different types of businesses that you can form.
Mm-hmm.
So you should know the different types, the differences between them.
Hello?
We also spoke about the process of naming your company. You should know that. You should also be able to comment about entering into contracts prior to formation.
Hold on, Ms. Patrick. You say know the different types of businesses and the differences between them?
Yeah.
And
Why
then
is
you
one
said,
better than the other one?
and then you said, know how to,
Name your company or the
Mhm.
process for naming your company.
Right?
And then you said, getting into contracts before formation or something like that.
Yes.
so that's pre-incorporation.
Mhm. And you should also know how to maintain your share capital. All of that is one question.
What? Ain't God good?
This should have been, this wrote like 28.
No, that's worth 10 points. You're not writing that much
Hold on, so from when you say
because
no,
you're
the
giving
different-
advice.
from you saying no, the different types of business down to how to maintain your capital share is one question.
Yes,
Mhm.
And that's 10 points?
yes.
How you
You wish
splitting
for
it
me
up?
to make it 20?
No, 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 no.
I can switch one out.
No, 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 no. Mm-mm.
I could switch out the 4 part.
Mm-mm. You, whatever you have right there, you know.
All right, there's a question on redeemable shares.
What about
I gotta go start studying.
The procedure. Is a scenario, very short scenario. So you need to say whether or not shares can be redeemed, and then you need to talk about the procedure to issue such shares. How many you have now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, so we did two, remember when we were doing some in class, we did 2 different scenarios. One, when we had the long discussion where the
The one with the
future
bank.
shareholder wanted the company to transfer some of his assets.
Yeah.
Okay, we had that. And what else we had? We had another case we looked at the same time. The one, but when the transfer of the shares, remember? The fraudulent one with the transfer of shares, when they did, who actually owned the shares? Remember we went through that scenario with that question?
Mhm.
I don't
Okay.
remember that.
Yes, you do.
Yes, when the
When
man, somebody
Mhm.
stole the share and then they sell it to somebody who then
Oh,
sold
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't question. This question is not about a stolen share, but you should understand the process that we went through. So there is some shares here, and the company is refusing to register those shares.
So the process of transferring shares?
Yes. It's issuance and transfer. And you need to advise the person.
And you say the scenario is where they don't wanna, you didn't say
They're
transfer the
refusing to do
shares.
it. Yeah, they're
Refusing-
refusing to do it.
Refusing to,
To register the shares.
register the shares, okay.
Now, you have 10 multiple choice. Let me see if I could guide you. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can. I mean, you shouldn't need no guidance for multiple choice.
What? We could read the whole book.
And
No,
do you have none of the above or all of the above as any of those answers?
no,
Or A and B? Because I need guidance if you have them.
it's A and D, A through
Oh,
D.
Lord. Okay.
Why?
No,
You like
because
any of the
sometimes it'll
above, so
be
you can
like,
just tick it?
No, we're not. Them said they'd be the tricky questions.
yes.
So we don't need that. Just put one answer there. Let us choose stuff from that one.
Say what?
Just be straightforward. That's what
Yeah,
she's
be
saying.
straightforward. Yeah. No, not all of the above or A and C, or is it D and B? Don't do that.
Oh, no. I was going to make it like that, and then I said, let me change my mind. Because by the time you finish writing all the other questions, I believe your brain may be a little bit fried.
And this exam,
It's easy. Easy peasy, she said.
Yes, it is easy.
I looking at the time, wanna
3 hours.
when you're
It's
done
on the
be looking
10th,
for
on the 10th
epistle.
or 17th.
On the 17th.
Okay, let me see if I can guide you. We have 10 very, very easy multiple choice questions.
Number one is A or B.
So you have a question on the value of shares. So you have to calculate it. You don't need a calculator.
Don't need a calculator?
No, you could do it in your head. Okay, there's a question on a director's authority. There's a question on the schedule at the back of the Companies Act. No particular section or something, or nothing like that.
You
It's a
mean
general question.
the third schedule in the back there?
Yes,
To the bottom?
just a general question. Remember when we spoke about different types of companies?
Mhm.
What are the types of companies?
Like sole proprietorship, incorporation.
No, those aren't
IBC
companies. They're
and
just different
regular
types of
company.
business
Oh,
ventures.
IBC, the
IBC
IBC
and
company
regulars and
and
stock.
regular and companies
Stuff like
are companies.
Who said it again?
You mean like stocks and IBCs, or you mean in like
We did SACs,
different types of companies, right?
Limited,
and what else?
limited and public.
ELPs,
Uh-huh, and what else?
what else it is? I can't remember the color of the full, the
IVC is
regular
Uh-huh.
IBC stock, ELP, there's another one, eh?
LLPA.
NPOs. NPO is a company, that's considered as a company too, right? Non-profit.
Yeah,
Yes,
but we
non-profit
know,
company.
but when you incorporate a company, how can you incorporate a company?
You have to do the register, the memos and ours.
Doing the method of incorporating a company is different from the process. What's the method of incorporating a company?
Oh, okay. Method and the process. Because when you say what's the method, I really go straight to the process
No, not the
of
process. What's the method?
incorporation. Yeah. Someone else answer so I can write it down.
What's the method?
Method.
I listen to it right now.
Let me think. Devin.
I don't think I understand your question.
The
Yeah, I
method
don't
is a company
understand.
can be incorporated by shares, by
Oh, how you mean
guarantee.
by
That's
limited?
the method.
Or limited by
that's
shares.
so cool.
Yes. Okay, there's a question on that.
Okay.
That's the fifth thing you just gave?
I don't know. I didn't count.
Because you said types of
Yeah,
companies.
that's the fifth. Yes, that's the fifth. You should know the different types of shares and the rights that are attached thereto. In the Companies Act, it speaks to when a company decide to change its name, what the process is. So you have a scenario question here and you have to decide if it's correct.
Okay.
Change of name.
That's true or false, isn't it?
No.
This multiple choice still?
Yes, it is.
For referring to the Companies Act.
Yes, you should know the section to change the name. You know it on your head? The
Not
section
this
to
one.
change the name of a company.
We will by the time of exam.
Okay, all right. There's a next question on the type of share and its rights. So you have to know the rights that attach to different types of shares.
So two of them is type of the shares and rights.
Yeah.
Say that again, please.
Shares and its rights. So normally when you have someone working with you, normally you would put a restraint clause in the contract whereby they should not compete when they leave. So there's a scenario around a restraint clause and something that the employee did. You should know when you purchase shares, in a company, you need to know what your exposure is to the company. And then there's a question on alteration of capital. Alteration of the articles.
Now, the one you just said, when you said what's your exposure to the company, you mean like how you would lose just as much as what you invest in?
No. This is when you invest in a company and how do you bind yourself to the company that you've invested in?
And the next one you say alteration to the articles?
Yes. And that's a very easy exam.
Okay, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Because you say you was putting something on this and I ain't see it in none of these stuff.
What's that?
Liquidation.
Yes, I gave you liquidation.
You did?
Yes, I said in the mandatory section, there are 2 questions. One has 4 parts.
In the mandatory.
Mhm.
Yeah, you list off promoters and liability risks, process management, piercing of the corporate veil, company and its contractors.
And liquidation.
Oh, I didn't catch liquidation in that.
You remember when we first started, I said liquidation. This is what I'm looking for in the answer. And it's a part of the question.
No, I don't know that.
Right. So that's why I was saying for that question that has 4 parts, I could swap that out with another question.
The one, oh, but you have 4 parts is what I have. What is a promoter? How do you vary the rights? How do you transfer the shares? And what are the memorandum?
That's a different one.
Oh,
That's a different question. I was saying I would swap out the one with the 4 parts and mandatory, which speaks about the liability of promoters, the risk management process, the liquidation,
No, them said.
and piercing the veil.
You say you switch them out, like take them out?
Swap it. I'll put it in B. And then I will replace it with the question that speak about the differences between types of businesses, process for naming a company, pre-incorporation, and maintenance of share capital.
This the 9 questions we're going over again.
No. I'm asking if y'all wanted swap out.
oh,
No,
leave that how you have that.
Makita, remember you answered the question when she asked about the liquidation
I do not
and the
remember.
voluntary and involuntary.
Yeah, but I mean, when we was writing down the parts.
That was the
to
4 part, right? Yeah.
When we was
And you
writing
look
on
on
the parts of the
170.
question, I don't remember her saying nothing but liquidation. I
Yeah,
know
she
nothing but
started off.
liquidation.
She started,
started
off.
off
That was
with
the
that.
first one. Mhm.
My first thing that I have is promoters and liability.
Oh no, she was
you missed the
talking
whole thing
before.
on liquidation.
Okay, can we repeat that one with the liquidation then? Because I don't have nothing on that.
What you
Then
mean?
she
When you
asked
answer the
the
question?
2 types of
That was what
liquidation.
we was discussing in class. That's before we started the exam in the first part of the chapter.
And she then
Oh,
remember, yeah. And then she said that's an exam question, by
okay,
the way.
That's right.
okay.
So what part of the exam that fall on? A, B, or C?
A,
Mandatory.
So you want me to swap that out?
no.
No.
Okay.
Um,
So when you answer in this exam, answer each question on a separate sheet of paper. It's very difficult for me to mark when you put 2 questions on one paper, and especially if they're not in order. You understand what I mean?
So one paper or papers per question.
Right. Part A, question 1, 1 paper.
So
Part
what about
A, question 2, a new paper.
part B
Part B, same thing.
and C, multiple choices? Don't it just tick?
You could just tick it on thingam or just write down on a sheet of paper 1 to 10 and put your letters. I'll tell you why. Let's say B. Let's say you chose Makita 2, 4, 5, 1, 8, 3. Someone else chose totally different numbers. I'll have to be flipping papers all day long. whether I could just turn to someone, okay, all these ones did question 1 and all the ones are in front of me. Then I could go to question 2. Who did question 2? They're all on a separate sheet of paper. If you start putting them 2 answers and 3 answers on one sheet of paper, it is very hard to mark and it'll take me long. So if you answer each one on a separate sheet of paper, it's easier. And plus, I give you the opportunity to go back afterwards and add on to it if you wish.
Yeah, because you have space.
You have space.
And we bring our own paper or the paper will be provided?
No paper will be provided.
Okay.
All you do is bring your pens and your brain and your cup of water and your mask.
And the company staff as well?
You don't need that.
Okay. But we could have it if you need it.
No, you don't need it. You already know what you're going to do. If you're doing change of name, you should know that section out your head by then. You don't have to know it verbatim, you know what it says. You don't need to put section so-and-so. You should know what it says. I'm telling you, you'd spend so much time digging and going through, it'll be like a crutch. And you'll find that you write plenty sections, but you have not answered the question. So answer the question. So when you study and like if you're doing this, if you're going to do the question on reduction of capital, you have your notes. You can go to the act, read the act, simplify your notes as much as you can, and then you know how to answer a question on how to reduce the capital. So how many people thinking they're going to do the multiple choice?
I don't think
Well, I still calculating in my head how much
I
points
like
to
in
get
everything
these
in
short
this
answers.
I mean, so if we do the 6, we don't have to do the multiple choice.
Right.
I don't think I like it that way.
You mean y'all have me write these multiple choice and now y'all don't want it?
I never wanted it.
It ain't a matter of fact that I want it. I just go where I feel safer.
I know, right.
Mommy?
If it's there, I want to review it. I minded it still.
Depends on the
Okay.
time.
Now don't make the mistake to answer 5, because I've seen this in a couple of the past exam. You answer 5 from part B, and then you go and you attempt part C. So you put on all your answers for part C, then you decided you change your mind, didn't scotch it out, didn't put a line through it, and then you went back and answered one more question of part B. And then when I marked your part C, you got 1 out of 10. And that last question that you added on behind that didn't count. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stick to either or.
No. If you're going to decide that you're going to try it and you want to replace a question with that, watch the way in which you staple your papers together. Because if your 6th one is your multiple choice and you didn't do well on that multiple choice and you felt so afterwards, you say, scrap that. Let me answer another question instead. But you do not put a line through that multiple choice. That multiple choice becomes within your 6.
Okay.
And that question that you would have answered so well, I've seen people, they come back and they answer questions so well. They would have gotten 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. But instead, they forgot to put a line through the multiple choice. So they lost 9 points right off the top.
Shit. Sorry.
So that's what I'm telling you. Don't go rushing yourself and be making mistakes. There's no need to panic. You know exactly what's coming on exam. You know exactly what you studied. Stick to what you know.
You said something just now about a name change too, right?
Yes, I did.
That would be around the same thing as the process of naming a company.
Yes. Not process of naming it, process of changing.
I have just the same section where you have know the difference of, know the different types of businesses and the differences between them.
I mean, if that question speaks about changing,
It's for them, a four part, what you say. So know the different types of business and the differences between them. Then I have process of naming a company, pre-incorporation, and how to maintain a share capital.
that's correct.
So where the part is with the name change.
The name change was, where was that? That was a
But that's a
multiple
multiple
choice.
choice thing.
Mm-hmm.
Method types and share. Company. Okay, yeah, companies are process of change of name, yeah.
Yeah, that's a multiple choice question.
Miss Acha, I was also a little confused. I wasn't sure about, I sent the wrong thing. I don't know if you saw the second email I sent you today.
Hold on. What time you sent it? Let me see, hold on.
That was when I was on my lunch break, I guess. I think that was after 2. No, that was before. That was 12 or slightly before, I think. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me start up my computer. Try it later. Around 2.
Oh, I know that's before 12. That was when I was on lunch break.
Your midterm paper?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I see it.
True. I sent the wrong one. I sent the unrevised one by accident. I thought I attached the right one. I did the wrong one initially.
Yeah, okay. I see the one when you said revise. I realized. Yeah,
All right.
I have it.
Thanks.
I have it. Yeah, I have it. You look like you're the first one out the gate because I don't know what happened to the rest.
You said the 25th.
Yeah, you don't have to wait until then. Why would you wait until then? Now you're pressure to finish that understudy.
More
She
pressure
did the
than
right
that.
thing. She's finished with that.
I got 2 papers to hand in on Thursday.
Yeah, well, at least she's finished with hers. I have
You mean
yours.
the- you mean the midterm question?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta send mine. When are due? Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to send mine because I didn't read it.
Be talking Thursday before midnight, right?
What happened to you, Cameron? What's with you always looking for these way out dates?
I gotta make sure.
I don't know. You can send it to me tonight.
Cameron, I with you, yeah? Because
What?
Yeah, I can send that to him.
This was an interesting paper, and you could have gone home and done this in 2 nights after you've done your research. It ain't that hard.
I think it take 2 nights. It would
It
take 2
didn't take
nights.
too long, right?
I think I do something wrong. It would take 2 nights.
No, if you've already done your research, you just sit down to write it.
Yeah, you can write that in 1 night.
Yeah, the research is what takes you a while and trying to see how you can put your thoughts together. By the time you sit down and go to your computer, 2 to 3, 4 pages, you're done. It's not that difficult. Now, where do you answer the question is a different story. But
That's
yes,
exactly the problem right there. You could sit down and write 4 pages, but did you answer the question?
yeah, well, that's the tricky part.
Well, that means you answer the question based on what you think the answer is supposed to be. You should get a point for that.
I mean, what you think it's supposed to be?
Yes, because
once you could prove your point, at least.
You could prove your point, yeah. If I run out with 4 pages, that means I adamant about my point.
Okay, I'll see who's adamant about their point. I'll see who's adamant. I have nothing else to say on that point. I'll wait for those.
So when
Then I'll
we
provide you with feedback.
do we just put the case study to the top of the year or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. And please write legibly in the exam.
Child, no
No
business.
guarantee to that one. I
We
got
have to be
Why?
writing fast.
What you writing fast for? You already know what's coming on the exam, so what's the
really-
rush?
Time.
3 hours.
You
Time
already know how much
flies when you're
time you
having
have.
fun. Time flies when you're having fun, though.
You right, Makita.
You can blink and that 3 hours gonna be over.
Hmm. I see. Okay, all right. So no more questions. Everybody's happy?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Now do not go on the exam and write opposite. You already know what's coming on the exam.
Remember you said once we're adamant about our point, then we stand a chance.
Yes, if it is making sense, yes. Yes.
Okay.
We shall see.
Okay. All right. All right then. So go and finish my paper. Yes, Cameron, you have until midnight.
Appreciate that.
Cameron, I ain't gonna lie. One thing with you, you gotta ask the question that you think.
Gotta ask, man. Gotta ask.
He always asks now. He can let it slip by.
Be thinking.
That sounded to me like he hasn't started yet.
No, man. No, man.
Oh, I
No, man.
start, but I just, you know, make sure how much time I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay. All right, so I look forward to reading your papers on the weekend. So I should have them all in my box by then.
Yes.
Yes, all right, so I'm gonna send your final exam now on to the office so they could start to get your workbooks ready. Isn't it wonderful?
Sounds great. So the capstone, you said we mailing it to you that day, right?
Yeah, email it to me.
Can we send it before?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
The
You don't
capstone
have
is
to wait.
still due on the 10th or?
And on the 17th as
On the
well.
17th, on the day
On
of
the
the exam.
17th?
But you can send it as soon as you finish.
Okay.
Yeah, it's best to get rid of that right away.
Just get it out of the way, so just do it.
Yep.
Just do it one time and get it out of the way. I'm sending the final exam now to Mr. Pratt. And it's April the 17th, right?
Yeah.
You'll get so much time to study till it ain't funny.
You think that's plenty time to study these million chapters and go over the acts?
You put the act on the side of you as you study. You already know what the topics are.
And do the capstone?
Now, hold on now. You had plenty time for the capstone. Don't try it.
I think if you do the reading and you make your notes and then you do the capstone and you short a note.
Sorry,
Yeah.
what did you just say?
If you do the reading, right? And then you do the capstone. All you would have to do is make shorter notes for study.
I'm sorry, one more time, because I didn't catch.
If you do the reading for the capstone,
Mm-hmm.
which take you through, which should take you through the rest of the chapters. Then if you do the capstone, then you come back and you go through the chapters, it would be easier for you now that you know what topics are coming to make sure. That's always
Tina.
been my strategy. Read everything, do the project, and then come back and do short notes. Because by then, everything is.
What you saying?
Come.
What you saying is study.
Running up in
Do
this
the
dirt.
capstone. No, study, do your notes, and then do the capstone.
Right. And then
Because you
come
would have
back
covered.
short notes. Because the capstone, doing the capstone will help you take you through the rest of the book, through the rest of the manual. Might make any that's my strategy.
Makes sense.
No, she let him, and then she put off.
That's right.
Christina, no, her thing is not on mute.
She just put it on mute.
She's busy talking to her dog.
They need to be quiet. This be
No, she
fighting.
did not. You thought she did. Christina, we can hear you talking to your dog, you know.
Hey, sorry.
She rowing them.
No,
I
because they
know.
don't listen.
They're dogs. All right. So that's a good technique.
I think I catch what you're saying. You say read, do the capstone.
Then do study notes.
Mhm.
Because see, then you'll be familiar with the chapter. And if you take one question at a time, your memory should be triggered to tell you which part of the text to go to.
You have a
For the
point.
capstone.
For the final.
For the final.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Because you would have already gone over it.
Right.
Correct.
And what time is the exam, Mrs. Archer?
Miguel will tell you.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 12, eh? I think it's 12.
I think it's 12 to 3.
12 until 3.
So you get there around 11, compose yourself, and you're good to go. All right, so everybody's happy now?
Yeah, man, we
Good
good.
again.
You did well in ensuring that you have all of the
Topics covered.
stuff. You did very well.
Yeah, I try to make sure you're well-rounded by the time you leave here.
Yeah, man, I'm sure we're gonna still probably have to send you an email here and there.
Yeah,
You did well.
so. Yeah, I say, let me make sure you all are well-rounded. Yeah. All right, then go work on my paper,
Okay.
All right,
on
everybody.
my papers.
All right. Good
All
night.
right,
Okay,
night.
good night.
One thing at a
Okay,
time.
good
One thing at
night.
a time.
Good night, everybody.
Okay, night.
Good night.
Good night. Good luck.
Okay, that's you.
Christina, just go to your week, yeah. Say good night and good luck.
Good night.
Good night.